Your network is your net worth. That's no secret. That's no secret at all. People have been saying it for ages, and for the music business, it's triple the truth. Because let's say you knew some sort of label executive that's your best friend, and you were like, yo, homie, I think I got this rap thing locked in. You want to try giving me a chance? And he'd be like, okay, let's see what we can do with you. Just a chance like that is something a lot of artists would probably kill or die for because it could be your big break. You never know. You never know with these things. Any connection you make in the world could lead you to opportunities that you don't have without having that connection. And so today, I'm gonna dive deep into autistic level of detail on how to actually move through the music business in terms of people and how to actually network with those people to gain access to these open doors, to gain access to these opportunities. I got this whole ass blueprint, which we're gonna take a look at, a very close look at, because y'all seem to enjoy the last long video I made about styling. And I'm gonna make more of these. If you say you like something, I'm just gonna make more of that. So here's one about networking. You can see here, Nipsey Hussle and Jay-Z, they had a pretty interesting professional relationship. Jay-Z showed a lot of love and support for Nipsey as Nipsey was moving up through the world. He bought, I think, like either 100 or like 1,000 copies of Nipsey Hussle's $100 mixtape. Can't remember too well at this point. And you can make friends like that too. So before we actually start, I just want to take a look at something very important, right? There's a quick intro I need to get out of the way because a lot of people misunderstand networking and what it is. A lot of people kind of view it as maybe going to these professional events and getting to know people and working on projects together. People kind of misunderstand it as a purely professional relationship, kind of like your work friends. But no, networking by definition is the exchange of information and ideas among people with a common profession or special interest, usually in an informal social setting. So I want you to understand that the basics of networking is that you're making friends. You're not out here to use people. You're not out here to, I don't know, manipulate people in some weird way and try to extract value out of everybody. You're literally here to make friends that happen to be doing and liking the same thing you're liking, which is music business, and hopefully they work in this industry. Because if you're an artist, you're technically a small business owner, right? You're technically working in the industry as well, so it counts. It counts. Why would you network with people? This is for those who aren't sure why they should be talking to anyone else. This is for people who are like, man, I want to make my music career myself. I don't need anybody. Yes, you can do it yourself, but why if other people can help you? It's literally like, okay, do you want to climb the stairs? Or if a guy is like, yo, man, you want me to give you a lift on my elevator? And you'll be like, nah, I want to climb the stairs, man. I want to do it the real way. That's kind of stupid. Don't do that. And of course, we're going to cover how. And to cover how to network, I want you to always remember that you're just making friends. You're making friends that share your interest and share your profession. Because if you think about it like this, it becomes just generally much easier. But obviously, there's more to it. So I think we're pretty good to dive into it and start actually looking. And the first and most important thing is that you're a nobody. The music industry, the music business, just in general, is very insular. There's a group of people that are in, and then everybody else is out. And it can be really hard to permeate your way in because you're an outsider, and generally outsiders don't know much about the music industry. It very much sticks to itself. The people in it very much only talk to each other and they don't really talk to anyone else. It's an interesting thing because a lot of people I see on the channel, obviously I try to aim and target people who understand something about the music business because I'm trying to give you like advanced and more detailed knowledge. But still, a lot of people come through and I see that they have no idea how the music business works at all. And that's because the industry doesn't reveal any of its secrets. It stays hidden. It hides itself, and it kind of exists in layers, like an onion. So it's not a matter of, okay, you're out and you're in. No, you have to make it through each layer. And there are ways to do it that are easy and natural and that will make sense to you as I explain them. So, the first thing you need to remember is that yes, you're a nobody, you're an outsider. That doesn't mean you'll get treated poorly per se. That doesn't mean people hate you and they don't want you. But it does mean that they'll be kind of wary of you at the start because a lot of artists. Okay, I'm just gonna jump ahead real quick. This is your average A&R, right? And this is your average artists all trying to reach out to the A&R, and the A&R is like fucking sick of it just because they get so many requests of people trying to look for a chance, of people trying to get the A&R to play their mixtape. You know, the A&R is like, oh my god, I'm so fucking sick of this. So if you're just another nobody that emails an A&R like, yo, please check out my music, obviously they're gonna fucking ignore you. They just get too many of these requests. And the first thing you need to start doing as you permeate the layers of your music industry is you need to start building professional credentials. And we're going to talk about it more, don't worry. This is just the very start. First thing you need to focus on is becoming from a nobody to actually becoming an insider of the music industry by building these credentials, and I'll tell you how. The second thing, of course, is you need to get into the industry, and of course, again, I'll tell you how. And the third thing is you need to find the right people. And I really want you to focus on finding the right people because once again, it's not a matter of value extraction. It's not a matter of, oh, this person is like an important person at the label and I think they might get me some value. No, that's not how it is. It's like, oh, this person's into the same shit I am. So if I'm into Pokemon and I'm into music, I should try to find people in the music business who are also into Pokemon and into music, just because it'll be easy for us to talk. Also, some people are naturally more closed and kind of standoffish. This personality type just exists. There's no point forcing any conversations. There's no point trying to like extract anything or add any value to anybody who doesn't want it. Instead, invest your time into really qualifying the people you talk to in terms of like, okay, I'm trying to get to know this motherfucker a bit better. What's he into? What's she into? Is she a nerd like me? Does she like anime? If yes, I think the ending to Attack on Titan is fucking bullshit. And you kind of see if she thinks that the ending to Attack on Titan is bullshit. And you literally go from there. It's literally like the basics are that easy. Because if you're talking to someone and they kind of don't feel like talking to you, there's no point. But if you talk to someone and you're like, man, I think Eren should have just, killed the entire world. What the fuck was he doing? And the person you're trying to talk to is like, right? Then that's the right kind of person you want to be talking to by default. And it's going to be much easier. Before I tell you how to actually start penetrating, don't fucking laugh. This is an educational video. Before I tell you how to like start penetrating and permeating all the different layers of the music business, I want to take a look at this case study of Jay-Z because this is a very short lesson on actually building credentials and approaching and getting in and approaching people the right way. So when Jay-Z started rapping, he was pretty old. I think he was like 28, 29. Now, I didn't research his specific age, but he was definitely old by rap standards, okay? He wasn't a kid. And in this picture, Jay-Z is just a rapper, right? But in this picture, he's CEO of Rockefeller. Because he even says it himself, right? In the beginning, we went to every single label, and every single label shut their door on us. Because you're a fucking nobody. You're just a Jay-Z, the rapper, the beginner. Nobody cares about you, and they shouldn't. Okay? So he said it at the start. The genius thing that we did was we didn't give up. We used that what do they know approach. We didn't give up at that point. Instead, Carter, Jay-Z, Dash, and Burke, his friends, started their own label called Rockefeller Records. Okay? So instantly, just from that, you're not coming to an A&R saying, okay, man, I need a handout. Give me a label deal. I need money. Just let me blow up, man. Just give me the one chance. And the A&R is like, oh, man, fuck off. He's now CEO of Rockefeller. And he focused on building a profitable business. He released his debut album, Reasonable Doubt, even though the sales started slow. The album caught the attention of label executives because there were some sales. He was now CEO of a record label that was making money. And so you come to an A&R and you're like, yo, I'm CEO of Rockefeller Records. You know, we're making money, we're selling some copies, but I want to expand. Let's see if our labels can work together and let's see if we can figure something out. Instantly, in your head right now, how did you treat that conversation compared to the first conversation of, oh, I'm a rapper, please give me money? It's so different. It's completely flipping the script. It's saying, yo, you know, I'm a business owner, my business is doing okay, but I want to expand. Let's see if we can like embark on some joint venture, see what we can do. Let's make more money together. Fuck yeah. Instantly, everybody in the world's gonna treat you different because your credentials matter. So I think that was the genius thing we did, says Jay-Z. We started selling our own CDs and built our own buzz. Then the record companies came back to us. And it really isn't that difficult, but it is genius because you've built credentials. You retain full ownership. There's no way, if you do it like this, there's no way the labels will lock you into some evil 360 deal because you are a profitable company. Why the fuck do you want a 360 deal at this point? You want a nice, decent distribution deal, you know? You got leverage. You got credentials. You got social proof. You can show these labels that, yo, the company is making money. I just need some help to make more money. Come help me make more money and take a piece of it, you know? Makes so much more sense. You flip the script. And then Def Jam first purchased half of Rockefeller Records for $1.5 million. They didn't give Jay-Z an advance. This isn't advance money he has to recoup and give back and like sell his ass for the rest of his life just to give back 1.5 million in loan money that labels give. They fucking bought half the label from him. And although he probably didn't get to keep 1.5 million, he probably got like 1/3 of that. That's still $500,000 that he has that isn't debt. That's his money. The chances of you getting a $500,000 advance are close to zero. Unless you have a crazy viral song that's taking the world by storm, unless you have some sort of trap queen, getting $500,000 to $1 million in advance as a starting off rapper or musician is almost impossible. And you have to give it back if you do get it. He got his money as a purchase. It's his forever. And then in 2004, Def Jam bought the other half, $10 million. And if he keeps like 1/3 of that, because if they split it evenly, that's like what? $3.3 million, again, that he doesn't have to give back. It's his fucking money. Boom. Hope the script flipped in your head. I hope I did a decent job at showing you like the right type of approach and the right type of mindset you need to have to keep going into this. And so, how does this apply to you? Well, right now you are just an artist, and there's layers to this. You don't even want to approach A&Rs right away. A lot of people make this mistake. They're like, yo, Mr. A&R, give me a chance, take a look at me. Nah. A&Rs, they start on like level 2 of the industry. Okay, level 1 is where you want to start yourself off, because starting in level 1 makes sense. And you're gonna understand why in a second. It's gonna make complete sense. So, the first part of layer 1 is in no particular order of like best or worst. You can start reaching out to producers. For example, this is obviously DJ Mustard. You can't just instantly reach out to DJ Mustard. He won't give a shit about you. But for example, you can have a look at NBA Youngboy. And if you sound similar to NBA Youngboy, and if you kinda maybe one day you want to work with NBA Youngboy, you can literally go on his Genius And you can see who produced for him. So here we see JB Sauced Up, Really Made, and someone else. And then you go and you look up JB Sauced Up. And JB Sauced Up actually has a YouTube channel. He posts daily vids of him making beats. JB Sauced Up actually has a WOP community, just like myself. My WOP community is all about music marketing, and if you like my type of content, you should totally join that. But he has one to help producers learn music and learn to land big placements. So if you wanted to connect with JB Sauced Up, you can connect with him through his YouTube. You can become a viewer and kind of comment on his shit, try to get in touch, maybe ask for collaborations if you have a YouTube channel. You can join his WOP and learn from him, and maybe I don't know, make a beat together. Maybe if you're a good student and he likes you, which is how networking works, if somebody likes you, they start to open doors for you because you're chill and they like you. That's how it is. He has official Loop weeklies that you can sign up to. You just sign up to them there, you'll get his weekly loops, and you can send back collabs. If you're a producer, if you make beats, you can send him back collabs, and if you're good and he likes them, maybe he'll place them with NBA Youngboy, because he's already doing it. And so you see, that's your very first in. That's your very first in. Somebody like JB, you can connect with him pretty easily. He's a chill guy. I watch his YouTube videos sometimes. He's entrepreneur focused. He is religious, so he plays piano at church. And he's just a super chill dude that I'm not trying to grow as a producer, but if I was, I'd totally try to get to know him better and see if we can do something. And something like this can easily be your first in. And that's just one JB Sauced Up. You can also look up Really Made. You can go down the NBA Youngboy's entire producer credits list and maybe do just something as simple as buying a beat from them, asking for a custom beat, being like, yo, let's work on a beat together, and you make a beat with them for you, so you pay them for the service. And just going forward, money is the easiest way to start establishing connections. You can do all this without spending a dime, but I just recommend having some budget to help connect with those people, because if you start your relationship professionally, you instantly start it right. They have a vested interest in you. Starting a relationship in a professional manner gives the person a reason to talk to you, and it's a strong reason. Money is a good reason to connect. And then as they connect with you professionally, you can also connect with them on just a more general or personal level, because it'll be much easier. Okay? So producers can be your in number one. Easy. Also, the benefit of doing this is as you keep working your way through all these other people and down these other levels, you get to say, let's say one day you find the manager of NBA Youngboy and you actually manage to connect with his manager and you're just talking, right? You're like, oh, this and that. Oh, by the way, me and JB Sauced Up, we work. And his manager is of course gonna know who JB Sauced Up is, because he makes a lot of beats for NBA Youngboy. And then now you're recommended. Now you got social proof. Now you're just not some guy off the street. Now the manager of NBA Youngboy gets to hear that, oh, I work with JB Sauced Up, by the way. Hey, he's fucking sick. We make collabs, we make beats together, and his manager's gonna be like, oh, sweet. Yeah. You instantly rise one step above when you come sort of recommended, when you have mutual friends, mutual acquaintances. It is totally different to just being a total nobody. Okay? A huge credential boost and a huge relationship boost just right away. Because imagine if you had a friend and they introduce somebody who's really cool and you're like, man, this is my friend Jeff and he's really fucking cool. You're instantly willing to give Jeff more credit than if Jeff approached you on the street and tried to be friends with you. Right? It's just how people work. The second resident of layer 1 of the music industry is somebody like a songwriter. And with songwriters, you can again go on Genius and you can look at who wrote songs or who helped write them, or the people that you kind of look up to, or the people that maybe you one day hope working with. You can do something as simple as hitting up the songwriter and buying a song. You can ask them to help review and revise your song or help you write a song. You pay them a few bucks and you connect with them. For example, this is Playboy XO. He helped write one of Youngboy's songs. And Playboy XO is also an artist. So if you and Playboy XO, like if you, for example, hire him to help you on one of your songs, and you have a good time working together and he's pretty chill, you might invite him for a feature. And if he likes you, you can connect with Playboy XO and now you're friends. Boom, fucking awesome. And when you meet the manager of NBA Youngboy or someone who's like on his team or even on his label, you can say, oh, by the way, I know JB Sauced Up. And yeah, also me and Playboy XO, we like wrote some songs together. That was pretty sick. And so NBA Youngboy's team member will be like, wow, he knows all these people. That's pretty sick. You know, instantly your credentials boost up just tremendously and your network starts growing. That's exactly how it works, buddy. And I hope you can see that it's not too difficult. It's only difficult getting to know these first people, because once you get to know some of these people, you can just tell everyone else you know them, and they'll be like, oh, sweet. Yeah, fucking nice. You're kind of like a buddy already. Okay? The third residence of level 1 is artists that are roughly your level. It's pretty easy to connect with other artists that are on a similar level to you. You can just interact on socials, you can repost their releases, show support, people appreciate it, you know? You can buy or just get features to start working on songs with them, like this is Zillakami and NASCAR Aloe. Got a similar sound. Back in the day, they were roughly more or less on a similar level, similar lane. And so it makes total sense for them to start making songs together, you know? And you become genuine friends. And again, your network starts growing because, well, maybe they know somebody. Imagine you were like this guy, right? And you get to know this girl. She knows him, he knows him, he knows him. And you don't know him, but she knows her, you know, and she knows her. She kind of knows her. And so even though you had no connection with this person, now you have this weird connection with this person because that's just how your network grows. That's the kind of thing you want to aim for. The more people you get to know and be chill and essentially you grow your friend group, the more people will... It's a snowball, right? The ball will start rolling and more people will just start getting added to it as you keep growing. But you need to do this consciously and you need to direct your effort. You're like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm growing my friend group. I'm growing my network. It is something that requires active effort to establish and maintain, because obviously friendships need to be like maintained in some way, but something that needs to be done. The third type of person you want to talk to in layer 1 is engineers and studio owner. This is actually the best one and the fastest in my opinion. I'll explain why. And it's also the road I actually took that got me a job in the music business. Because I knew an engineer. Me and my buddy went to record for like my friend. We went to record at that engineer's house. He had a home studio. And then later on he introduced me to more people and he was super chill and we were having a decent relationship. And then those people were like, yo, you know, we need some help at the label. And I was like, well, I can give it a try if you want. And basically since they knew me, they were like, okay, let's give it a try. It was literally that easy. Because when people know you and they like you, they're willing to open doors for you, especially for win-win situations. And when you come to an engineer and you come to their studio, you know, you talk about music all the time. You talk about creative suggestions. Sometimes engineers also try themselves out as artists. Or if you're good friends with engineers, they will send you demos that they're working on and they're like, what do you think about this rapper's demo? It's really, really solid ground to just talk to them and become friends. Also, again, with our example of NBA Youngboy, if you're trying to work with NBA Youngboy, Jason Goldberg is his engineer. And obviously you can't work with Jason Goldberg right away, but let's say you did get to work with Jason Goldberg because you say, look man, I know JB Sauced Up, you know, I made some track with Playboy XO. If you got any time, can you mix and master my shit? And it might be expensive. Or he might do it for free. Probably not, but it could happen. And you just say, yeah, what's up? And, you know, you get one other step closer. Just because you know who these people are working in these environments, you get that direction. And also, when you say, for example, hey man, I engineered, like Jason Goldberg engineered for me, and you say you know this guy, right? The other people are like, oh. And it's a much better cosign than producers, because in people's heads, when you say you worked as a producer, people just kind of assumed you bought a beat. And, it's kind of true. That's how most people do it. But when you say this engineer mixed and mastered your shit, they kind of see it as a cosign. They kind of see it as this engineer believed in you and liked you enough to actually mix and master your shit. And people kind of somehow forget that you can just pay them to do it as well. Yeah, I don't know why that happens, but that's for sure a way people think. So when you say, oh yeah, I know that engineer, we're pretty good mates actually, he works on like all my songs. People who hear this, they will be like, oh, fucking sick. And they'll instantly see that engineer as basically co-signing you. Yeah. One thing you shouldn't do for sure, at least from my experience, is try out Discord groups and Reddit groups. In my personal view, biggest waste of time that you can ever do. And I know people for whom Discord worked, but I only know like 2 of those people out of everybody else that I know, including myself, and it just doesn't work. Most people in these groups are whack. Most people in these groups are like stuck in their own head and they don't know what they're doing. Because if you reach out to someone who's like a professional in their own sphere, let's say an engineer or an artist, right? You can, like, that means that person is developed enough as an artist to sort of understand what they're doing. Or as an engineer, that's their job, they take it seriously. A lot of people in Discord and Reddit are just kids who are trying to figure themselves out, and I haven't been able to find any use out of them whatsoever or become friends, because in my opinion, a lot of like online friendships that you just meet people randomly, for me personally, they just don't stick. I don't know. It's much better if I meet a person over some business first and they got an entrepreneurial mind and we kind of connect over being either a music fan or an entrepreneur. Never happened to me in these 2. And finally, the last people in layer 1 is actually videographers. Videographers might know other rappers. Videographers might know other label staff. They might even work on a label and help labels out part-time. So if you connect with these guys and you get like a reputable one in your area to help you out, that can be a really big boon, because again, you go to meet more people and you're like, oh yeah, I know Cole Bennett. We worked in a few fucking songs together. He's got like 2 music videos made for me. And people will be like, oh, holy shit, And obviously Cole Bennett is a really big cosign, but this works on a much smaller local level as well. It's the same. A lot of rappers will be seeking out a reputable engineer that they can afford, that is available. And if you know them, it just opens a lot of doors for you to keep expanding your network. And so as you get to know some of these guys and girls, you sort of start to permeate into layer 2. And layer 2 is a different category of people, because if you approach these people without any sort of credentials in the industry and without knowing anybody at all, you really got nothing to talk to them about. Just because you yourself aren't deep enough into the craft yet, there's no value you can offer them, and there's no value you can actually get from them just because you're at a different point in your journey. But once you're kind of done here and you're kind of comfortable with these people here, you can start to permeate further in and kind of absorb yourself into layer 2. Now, while Instagram is and will always be great and amazing, starting at layer 2, you can make a lot of use of LinkedIn. Because a lot of corpo people that work in corporations like labels and all that, and lawyers and everything, they have LinkedIns and they take some part in that social media. Now, if you're a normal person, of course, you shouldn't be using LinkedIn. Everybody should stay the fuck away from that corporate bullshit. But to connect on a professional level, it does work. And I've personally made one, but very, very good connection on LinkedIn. And it was a super prolific relationship. That guy was great. We worked together a lot. It was super pleasant. So LinkedIn does have a ton of value if you go into it as a professional. Now, the first people in layer 2 is A&Rs. If you know a bunch of these people, you can finally start reaching out to A&Rs. And at the very least, make yourself known. Because in layer 2, if they know about you, maybe they don't have any offers for you yet. Maybe they're not willing to give you any chances on anything yet. Maybe they're not willing to show you to their label staff or whatever, or sign you. But a good A&R will keep an eye on you. Okay? Because their job is bringing talent to the label. And if they see that you keep growing and they see that you keep developing very quickly, they'll keep one eye open and they will have offers for you later. So it's still good to start getting acquainted with them, start hitting them up, seeing if you can find any common ground to chat about, especially on LinkedIn where that kind of stuff is a little bit easier. The second category of people in layer 2 is artist managers. If you know some artist managers like Central C's YB, right? You can at the very least introduce yourself. And not be like, hey, my name is this and that, I'm an artist, I think you should manage me. Just be like, nah, oh dude, I see you managing this guy, he's pretty fucking sick, wow. You know, that idea about putting your name on the trap star clothes was fucking sick, you know? You just kind of start talking about them and their work and the kind of shit that they did, and maybe see if you can like pick their brain about something similar you might do. And again, a good manager might be looking to sign new artists, and even if they don't have an offer for you right now, they will keep one eye on you, just like an A&R, just in case you keep growing and they'll want a piece of it. You know, they'll want to help you out, maybe at a later point, maybe not now. But they'll keep track, and that relationship can grow into something super fruitful. Or they might even make, they might even make offers, for fuck's sakes. They might even make offers right now. It could happen. Even early on, some managers will be like, yo, I think I know what to do with you. You know, let's try something out and we'll see if we can make some money. And obviously, if you know a manager, you get to know the other artists they manage, and they get to know everybody they know, and your network grows, which is awesome. Next, in layer 2 is music lawyers, and this happens to be Crystal from Top Music Attorney. I think she's pretty cool. Don't know her, but I like some of her videos. When you work with a music lawyer, A, you'll need one eventually anyway, because you should have somebody backing you up on the technical side of things. And B, as you sort of talk to them, you don't even have to hire them right away. You can just start talking to them like, yo, what's this, what's that? Some lawyers have like free consultations, some lawyers will have free evaluations. Just get the connection rolling. You can ask questions like, yo, so who else are you helping? No? And especially if the lawyers in your state and your area, that means other active business-minded artists or like serious enough to start working with lawyers, well, maybe you can get to know them, which is pretty cool. You can ask things like, so what's a crazy case you had? You know, and they can start telling you some of their stories. This is a tip for you. Lawyers love talking about the tricky and the sneaky shit that they do in court because, well, it's interesting. It's actual real-life adventures and doing like crazy weird shit. Law can actually be very interesting just in general, even if you don't understand it very well. The people who do, a lot of them enjoy the profession. This is a crazy lore drop, but before working in music in 2020, I actually was a lawyer. I had a legal degree. I hated it, but there were parts of the job that were definitely enjoyable, and I can tell you lawyers are super happy to like sort of brag about the funny shit that they did. Okay, you can ask them shit like, so how did you manage to bail them out? Again, they love talking about this stuff. They'll be happy to tell you the story over some wine or some coffee, you know, or just on Discord. Depends on their personality, of course, but most people are happy to spill the beans on their fun cases that they had. You can be like, is there anyone people should stay away from? And that's actually an awesome question to ask lawyers, because obviously they're in the business, and if someone's like a scammer, if somebody has a bad reputation, they'll tell you. And you can also know to stay the fuck away from those people in the industry. If they have a bad rep, that's not usually someone you want to be associated with or try to ever associate yourself with. You know, they can get you good sauce and good tea on who the hell to stay away from. Fourth is artist development managers and agencies. You don't have to specifically work with them. You don't even have to pay for their services. You can just start seeking out their staff on LinkedIn and just talking to them about music. These guys are huge music nerds, usually love music, they love artistry, they love developing and helping artists. And sometimes their agencies can be feeders for A&R. A lot of the time, these guys will have these early contracts that they will resell to labels, or they will recommend artists that they believe in to labels. So getting to know these guys, whether you work with them or you just get to know them, can be a huge door opener to later be fed into A&Rs and like actual label structures. It's an awesome door, and it's kind of misrepresented. People kind of don't know about this one because these are private agencies. They're technically not music labels, but they often do work pretty closely with music labels, which is good. And finally, a super underrated one. Well, not finally, there's more, but a super underrated one is actually music professors. Why are these good? Who cares about somebody teaching music at your local university? Well, sometimes they are feeders for labels as well. Sometimes they'll have students they believe in that they'll recommend to A&Rs. Like, these guys are the biggest music nerds you can imagine. They're music nerds far enough to a point where they actually studied it and now they teach it on an official level at universities. That's pretty high level. And they do often know people who work on labels. They do often know a lot of people in the industry. A lot of those people happen to be their ex-students or current students sometimes. And if you get ins with a professor and you get a good relationship with some professors, they can totally recommend you like further down the line into labels and shit, into like their past students or whatever they think they can help you out. A good reason to connect with professors as well is they can give you good portfolio projects. If you like music enough to like nerd out about it and start doing like studies, imagine if you help a professor in like their music studies and you get credited as a contributor to their paper. Well, the next time you go to meet anyone, like an A&R or anyone, you can say, oh yeah, by the way, Professor Doofenschmitz at California U, yeah, me and him wrote a paper together, that was pretty sick. And people will be like, holy shit, what the fuck? This guy's like academic? That's serious shit if you sort of understand what I'm saying. That's good credentials and that's truly impressive. And it's an easy way to connect. Because if you like this stuff, they like this stuff, you'll have a lot to talk about. Okay? Big up on overall social proof. Just knowing these guys or helping them on their projects and their work. And this isn't every professor, this is only some professors, but there's potential for academy. Because some of these people, they take part in academy awards and they like nominate people and they help decide. They're like part of that super professional award world. And if some of these people are aware of you, that could actually be a way to get some Grammys and get some bullshit pretty early on in your career. Like, not every hip-hop artist, not every artist in general, will ever get something like a Grammy, because a lot of these guys don't know or don't care about you. But if they do know about you, you're instantly up for consideration for these things. That's big brain move. And another big brain move that's totally underrated and people don't talk about it at all, but this is something you should definitely look into, is on LinkedIn, find distributor staff. If you start talking to people who work on Spotify, work on Apple Music and all this bullshit, you will start getting recommended. A, you'll have a better understanding of how these platforms work and how like things work there. But B, they will start recommending you playlist curators. We'll talk about playlist curators a little bit more in a second, because first, in between layer 2 and layer 3, and layer 3 is where it gets really fucking serious actually, but in between, right on the membrane in between, is the DJs. If you start working with DJs that either have an online following, they make mixes, or they play in clubs, you can start testing your song out and getting club plays, which can be huge. If your song is a type of like active, lively, energetic banger, and these people fuck with it and they know you and you're chill with them, just having access to testing your song in a club can be huge. Because imagine, again, you have something like Trap Queen, but you don't actually know if it's good, and maybe it's not getting any traction online. Well, if you know a few of these guys, it can get crazy traction in clubs, and you can just see people's reaction. If this guy's playing your song and the crowd is bumping, obviously your song is really good and it's worth like investing into more and trying to spread it more. And if the DJ is like, okay, I'll give you a chance, and they're playing a song and the crowd is kind of dead, well, they can just quickly switch it out for the next song, and you'll also know that there's no point working that one. Just leave it be in your catalog and forget about it. DJs, they usually won't talk to just anyone because a lot of people try to hit them up and get them to play their shit. And a lot of things that, people try to get these guys to play is garbage. But if you've kind of worked your way through these stages, DJs will be super happy to talk to you and like nerd out about music with you. And again, having influence in clubs or on their online platforms, if they're a bigger DJ, can be absolutely fucking huge. And knowing these guys can be absolutely fucking huge for layer 3. If you made it to layer 3, you're probably already successful in a way and probably full-timing your music, at least to a point where it's paying for itself. Maybe it's not paying like all your bills yet, and maybe it's not buying you Lambos, but if you get to talk to these people comfortably and they kind of accept you, that probably means your music is at least net zero, which is good. Really, really good. In this layer, you start to have A&Rs again. But this is where they take you way more seriously and they will actually start giving you offers from labels. They will actually start to seek you out and they will try to like partner up with you, offer you some things that they could do for you, which is cool. Knowing all of these guys and getting to them and not just being a guy off the street but being someone reputable just opens this door for you really easily. They're way more willing to trust you. They're way more willing to give you a chance because essentially everybody that they know from the previous tiers is co-signing you and they're like, yeah, I'll give this guy a fucking chance. They would be stupid not to, honestly, and you get treated completely different by these guys. Later on, you have venue owners and venue promoters. If you're kind of well connected in your industry by this point, which you are, these guys will start to become your friends. Because venue owners and venue promoters, well, A, they need music every night. Some of these do live musicians like almost every night, right? They try to invite as many people as they can to keep it fresh, keep their club interested, and keep the people that come into the club from hearing too much of the same shit. So they will be interested in you coming in. They need something fresh, and sometimes these guys also know a lot of A&Rs, and they will be more than willing to feed you and recommend you to people if they like your performance at their venue. There are some venues that straight up hire musicians full-time to play there, and this can work really well for you if you're like a session musician or a band. Even at my local boba shop that I was getting, they had a straight-up sign that says, need live musicians, 4 hours a night on Fridays and Saturdays, this and that much pay, ask the administrator, right? So these guys need musicians all the time. And they can also provide opportunities for self-hosted gigs. There was a time I worked at a nightclub in Australia. It was called Elsewhere. It's still active, still really good. And the owner of that nightclub, Benny, he told me that, yeah, he gives opportunities to musicians, and basically his only criteria is that they spread the right message. So he wouldn't invite like gangster rappers that talk about killing, but he would invite like bands, and he was more than happy to have rappers who have some sort of positive message to add to the vibes, to come in on Fridays and perform. And Benny would straight up offer musicians 50-50 door splits, which is fucking awesome, because essentially you as a musician, you get the venue clients, you get people to come in through the door, and Benny gets a piece of that. And for you, you get to sell your tickets and you get to keep half of it, and obviously you get a fucking venue with servers, with electricity, with all the equipment. It's tremendous value, and 50-50 is a pretty good split. Now, one thing Benny didn't do is offer bar splits, but I don't think many venues even offer bar splits ever. Like, that can be pretty hard to negotiate and honestly pretty pointless. I think a fair 50-50 door split can be fucking awesome, and these guys will be awesome friends. Also, in this category will be booking and touring agents. These guys might start giving you offers because they always have some sort of slots that they need to fill on the tours they're planning. Imagine you're from the California area and you're just a rapper rapping in San Diego. And this guy is bringing a rapper from LA all around California, and they're hitting San Diego, and he has a slot he needs to fill because he's trying to do a 2 hour show, and he just doesn't have enough people for a 2 hour show in San Diego, right? He can be like, yo, can you show up this and then, I'll give you that much money. It can be an awesome fucking opportunity. If he's trying to bring you somewhere else in a state with some bigger artist, just to open up for them and just to like create that crowd, create that space. Because, artists often don't do full solo tours. They usually bring someone else to split the costs, to split the time, kind of make it easier on their health and their everything, have a little bit of a crowd to chat to as well. Booking and touring agents will be your very good friends, and they will invite you to tons of shit if you know these guys and you vibe with them. Okay? Then you have larger artists in this category, and they might just want to get to know you and kind of give you a little cosign because they saw you and they appreciate you. Larger artists know how difficult it can be. Larger artists do show love to smaller artists. It totally happens. If you're good and you're chill and you're nice and you're talking to a band or someone who's just generally bigger than you, they might seek you out to open or tour with them as well. Because if they know you and they're chill, they're like, yo, bro, we're going on a tour and, would you like to come with us, split some of the costs and some of the profits? It can be really fun. It can be really awesome. You're good mates, you're drinking, you're doing hard drugs behind the stage, fucking sick time and potentially new fans, potentially extra money, just a great connection to have overall. Not to mention they might invite you to features later on as well. Just do some songs with you just because they like you. You don't even need to pay them. And that can be huge for you as well. Yeah, fucking awesome. And finally, in layer 3, you get to know playlist curators. Imagine if you get to know the curator of Rap Caviar and you and him or her, I don't know who it is, but you're just chilling and you're like, yo, what's up? You can start asking them questions. Okay, so what kind of artists actually make it to your playlist? What kind of thing are you looking for? And you can adjust yourself and your music to make it easier for them to place onto their playlist. You can even, if you get to know them a little bit better, you can even ask them to the big questions like, okay, so like, come on, be honest with me. Is this like a paid industry directed thing? Or is your playlist like accepting actual real submissions? And that's an important question because you gotta know. If it's something like Rap Caviar and you're not deep with the label machine behind you, you're probably not getting on Rap Caviar. That's just realistic, okay? You gotta expect shit like that to happen. Playlists like these can be reserved only for the cream of the crop and like super high-end artists. And if you know about it, you don't even waste your time trying to apply and trying to like stress to get on these. Why would you, You can just start getting to know, if you know like the curator of Rap Caviar, for example, you can say, okay, well, obviously, this is not for me right now. Do you know any other curators that might want me? And they'll probably recommend you. They'll be like, yeah, I know the curator of like, I don't know, street Australian drill caviar. And if you're an Australian drill artist, they'll be more than happy to, get you in touch with that curator and you can actually pitch it to them and make that submission a lot more valuable and make a lot more sense. Playlist curators are fucking awesome. And yeah, they can help you a ton because obviously, like editorial playlists, they're still obviously a very good way to promote yourself. It can be awesome. And as you get to know all of these guys and you're super connected at this point, you can confidently start to enter layer 4 where it's large artists, okay? So everybody up until this point, I was kind of a reference using NBA Youngboy and members of his team. Imagine if you know NBA Youngboy's entire fucking label team. What are the odds some of them will get you to meet NBA Youngboy? Honestly, pretty high. Like really, pretty high. If you have a lot of friends who are connected to him, eventually they'll just get you there. If you have a lot of friends who know and are chill with 50 Cent, eventually they'll just get you there. That's how friendships and networking and mutually beneficial relationships work, because people want to help each other out. And also, large artists will start to take note of you because they're like, yeah, this guy is in the industry. He's a force to be reckoned with. And they'll start to give you cosigns, offer you features, offer you to like executive produce some of your music. Or somebody like Dr. Dre at this point may be more than willing to, take some percentage of your art and give you a bit of a boost, just professionally. There's a lot of deals to be made in layer 4. This is kind of the layer people try to skip to, and they're like, man, if I can get my mixtape to Meek Mill, maybe he'll sign me to Dream Chasers. But the chances of that with you being here at layer 0 are close to 0. But the chances of you knowing all of this crowd and sort of being here is pretty high, because you're like, yo, Meek Mill, I know Swiss Beats, I know Rick Ross, I know 50, I know like Nipsey's entire marketing team. Uh, you want to like talk about maybe I can be on Dream Chasers as well. And Meek Mill will probably be like, yeah, let's at least talk about it, it's worth looking into. Huge, huge doors being opened in layer 4. Also, this this is where you get to meet executives, and they can give you tremendous and real business deals, not just those shitty, okay, I'll give you 120, I'll give you like 100k advance, I'll get to Diddy fuck you in the ass, get your oil, baby, and I also get like 100% of everything you earn, and maybe in 5 years time you get 1% of that. You don't get those deals, because when you're chill and you roll with actual executives, actual decision makers, they will offer you good deals. Imagine that. Okay, imagine you say, okay, I know, like I genuinely know and I'm chill with Suge Knight, who was not in prison, like the old Suge Knight, back when he was extremely important and prolific in the industry. And you and him are just super chill. You had a few whiskey drinks, you smoked a few cigars. He's like, yeah, man, I don't know. Would he naturally be willing to offer you like an actual good deal? Of course he will, because he likes you. Just by the nature of having a good relationship, they'll offer you much better shit than those shitty early label advances that people will offer you like somewhere around this stage. 100%. Okay? And they'll also be pretty happy to offer you bigger and bigger opportunities because they run the show. They get to make all the decisions. They're essentially the ones who decide whether you're invited to like Met Gala, to everything. They can get you into events. They can get you super, super hot. This is like, knowing these guys and these guys is the difference between just being a profitable and well living, well wealthy artists to being an actual superstar, because these guys are the kingmaker. And last in category 4 is actual venture capitalists. Because let's say you did what I said here and you actually made your own record label, right? You're not just looking for a handout from other labels, you made your own. Well, instead of getting labels involved, you can actually start looking at venture capitalists and getting them involved. They might not be as useful in terms of helping you move within the industry, but their money is a lot cleaner because a lot of VCs take a hands-off approach. They're like, okay, I'll give you the money. I expect a return in 10 years. Just, keep me updated, keep me posted, but I'm not going to meddle too much in your affairs, right? I'm not going to try to tell you what to do too much. I'm about, CEO and founder freedom. So these guys can actually be really good, really clean capital that you can get into your label as a business, and they won't demand much for it except good returns. Generally, getting hooked up in the venture capital and like Wall Street world can lead you to massive opportunities later on, because at this stage you're beyond the music industry. These guys can get you to the moon because they can invite you on deals that, obviously Jay-Z bought Armand de Brignac, right? Either the entire thing or some share of it, I don't remember. But these guys, they take you to that billionaire status because you start investing into other companies with them, and getting to know these guys is literally billionaire status. That's beyond layer 4, beyond the music industry. That's money that you probably can't even imagine right now because, it's too much money. The kind of cash these guys have is just out of this world. And of course, if you're like Rick Ross with your Wingstop, if you're Jay-Z with Armand de Brignac, If you're 50 Cent with your Prime Water, these guys are your guys because they know every business owner out there. They make a living making these deals. They have the money, and that's just stage X. 200,000% success. But for the music industry, that's about it. I really hope you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed this deep dive. I will have a few more coming because since you guys like this type of video, I'll just make more of this type of video. I actually like making them, even though they take a long time. So if you like this one, please leave a like and maybe a nice comment on the video. It keeps me motivated. And do look at joining my WOP group in the description below because in my mentorship program, I can help you out with anything. I can help you out with your branding, with your content. You don't need to be alone, and I don't take no percentage of your ownership. You get to retain everything, right? You just pay me a flat monthly fee, and we work together, and I help you out, and I get you where you want to be. With that, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.